In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on March 17, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Chicago Bulls versus Utah Jazz. On Monday night, the Chicago Bulls will travel to Salt Lake City to take on the Utah Jazz at Delta Center. This game will be an important one for the Bulls, as they are clinging to the final play-in tournament spot in the Eastern Conference. They have been playing well as of late, winning 4 of their last 5 games, which has helped them stay competitive in the standings. Meanwhile, things have been rough for the Jazz, who currently sit at the bottom of the Western Conference with a miserable 15-53 record. Their struggles have been ongoing, as they have managed to win only 3 of their last 19 games, making it clear that they are far from contending for anything meaningful this season. Chicago continues to deal with some key absences, as Lonzo Ball and Josh Giddey remain unavailable. However, Utah is in much worse shape when it comes to missing players. The Jazz will once again be without Keon George, Jordan Clarkson, and John Collins, which leaves them severely undermanned. Even though the Bulls aren't at full strength, their current roster is still in far better condition than Utah's. Chicago has been surprisingly competitive recently, and even though they fell short against the Rockets in their last game, they still put up a fight despite an off night from Kobe White. The Jazz, on the other hand, seem to be doing everything they can to stay in the race for the top pick in the upcoming NBA draft. Utah has fully embraced tanking mode, making it obvious that winning is no longer a priority for them. They continue to lose players to injuries, and even when they have the chance to be more competitive, they don't seem particularly interested in doing so. With 16 losses in their last 19 games, it's clear that their focus is not on securing victories. Meanwhile, Chicago has remained locked in, winning 4 of their last 5 games as they aim to hold on to their play-in spot. The Bulls seem determined to stay within the top 10 in the East, rather than slipping out of contention altogether. Their recent performances suggest they aren't taking any games lightly, and this is a matchup they should be able to handle with ease. While the Jazz have managed to cover the spread on occasion, their overall trend has been one of consistent losing. Given the number of key players they are sitting out, it's obvious that they are more concerned with improving their draft lottery odds than putting up a serious fight. On the other hand, Chicago's recent string of wins has put them in a position where they could move up to the 9th seed in the East if they keep their momentum going. With only a month left in the season, motivation plays a huge role, and the Bulls have every reason to take full advantage of this opportunity. Utah's injury situation continues to worsen, and Chicago has already shown they can win games on the road. Given the way the Jazz have been playing, it's hard to find a reason to back them in this spot. Their lineup is depleted, their motivation is lacking, and their recent performances have been uninspiring. As our first pick for this matchup, the Chicago Bulls to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The total has gone under in 34 of Chicago's 67 games this season, with their road games split evenly at 16 overs and 16 unders. Meanwhile, Utah's recent games have leaned slightly toward the over, hitting 6 times in their last 10 outings. Statistically, the Jazz rank 20th in the league in points per game, while Chicago sits at 16th in field goal percentage. Both teams are capable of putting up points, but given their struggles, this game has the potential to be a slower, lower-scoring affair. Poor defense on both sides could contribute to some scoring, but a lack of confidence from 2 teams that have had their share of struggles could lead to an overall sluggish offensive performance. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Washington Wizards versus Portland Trail Blazers. The NBA action rolls into Monday, March 17, 2025, with an intriguing matchup between the Washington Wizards and the Portland Trail Blazers. These 2 teams will square off at Moda Center in Portland, Oregon, in what will be their second and final meeting of the regular season. When they faced off last month, Portland came out on top with a 129-121 victory, covering the spread as 6.5-point favorites on the road. Now, with the venue shifting to Portland, the Trail Trail Blazers will look to defend their home court, while the Wizards aim to even the season series. Washington heads into this game dealing with a few significant absences. Corey Kispert and Malcolm Brogdon have already been ruled out, and Marcus Smart is questionable, leaving the Wizards a bit thin in the backcourt. On the other side, the Trail Blazers aren't at full strength either, as they will once again be without Deandre Ayton, Robert Williams, and Jerami Grant. Despite being short-handed, Washington has been playing inspired basketball lately, particularly after a thrilling road victory against the Denver Nuggets on Saturday. However, oddsmakers still favor the Trail Blazers at home, despite their own injury struggles. Portland remains on the outskirts of the playoff picture, clinging to a slim hope of making a late-season push. But this game presents a real challenge for them. Not only are they missing key players, but they are also coming into this contest on the second night of a back-to-back, which could lead to fatigue. Meanwhile, Washington has been in solid form over the last couple of weeks, showing an ability to hang with and even beat quality opponents. Adding to their injury concerns, the Wizards will also be without Bilal Coulibaly due to a hamstring injury. Malcolm Brogdon and Corey Kispert remain question marks heading into Monday. Given these absences, Washington will continue to lean heavily on Jordan Poole for scoring, while also giving rookie Alex Sarr extended minutes to showcase his talent. The Wizards have been putting up points in bunches lately, crossing the 118-point mark in 4 of their last 6 outings. Even with some key players sidelined, they have enough firepower to give Portland's defense some real problems. While Portland has been statistically better on defense this season compared to Washington, their recent performances tell a different story. Over their last 5 contests, excluding their Sunday night game against Toronto, the Trail Blazers have been outscored by an average of 9 points per 100 possessions. That's a troubling trend for a team trying to hold things together down the stretch. At one point, it seemed like Washington's season was destined to be another forgettable one, but lately they've been showing some real fight. They've knocked off playoff-bound teams like Detroit and Denver in their last 2 games, giving them momentum heading into this matchup. The Wizards have also been a decent bet lately, covering the spread in 3 of their last 5 games. When given extra rest, Washington has been even better, posting an 11-7 record against the spread in such situations. Against a Trail Blazers team that has struggled lately, the Wizards have a real chance to keep this one close and possibly pull off another upset. For Washington to have success, they'll need to push the tempo and take advantage of their transition game. They average 16.6 fast break points per game, while Portland allows 17.2 fast break points per contest, ranking 27th in the league in that category. Additionally, the Wizards have a slight edge in free throw shooting, converting 78.4% of their attempts compared to Portland's 76.8%. The Trail Blazers have been prone to fouling, allowing 23.1 free throw attempts per game this season. If Washington can capitalize on those opportunities and sustain their recent offensive rhythm, where they've been averaging 119 points per game compared to their season-long average of 108.9, they could put serious pressure on Portland's defense. Even though the Trail Blazers are perceived as the better team on paper and are getting the edge from oddsmakers at home, backing them as favorites doesn't feel like the smartest move. They are playing on tired legs in the second game of a back-to-back, and the Wizards have been in strong form, winning 9 times in the last month and a half. They've also covered as underdogs in 8 of the last 9 meetings between these 2 teams. As our first pick for this matchup, the Washington Wizards to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Neither of these teams has been particularly potent on offense over the course of the season. Washington and Portland rank near the bottom of the league in points per game, sitting at 24th and 27th, respectively. While the Wizards have been finishing better around the rim lately, the overall offensive struggles for both squads make the under an appealing option in this contest. Portland has hit the over just twice in its last 7 games, going 2-4-1 in that span. The Trail Blazers also tend to struggle offensively on the second night of back-to-backs, going 3-8 to the over in such situations. Meanwhile, Washington's road games have resulted in an under more often than not, with a 15-18 over-under record away from home. One of Washington's biggest issues has been inefficient shooting. Despite taking a high volume of attempts, they rank just 28th in the league in effective field goal percentage at 51.2%. Portland, while slightly better in terms of pace, ranking 14th in the NBA with 102.9 possessions per game, has been one of the league's worst teams at taking care of the ball, ranking 29th in turnovers per game at 16.1. Their most recent game against Toronto finished well below the over, with a combined total of just 207 points. Given these offensive inefficiencies on both sides, it's hard to envision this game turning into a high-scoring affair. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Memphis Grizzlies versus Sacramento Kings. A pair of Western Conference teams looking to make a statement will go head-to-head on Monday night in Sacramento. The Memphis Grizzlies, who hold a solid 43-25 straight-up record and have covered the spread in 37 of their 68 games, are coming off a dominant performance. They absolutely dismantled the Miami Heat on Friday night, cruising to a 125-91 victory as 5-point favorites at home. On the other side, the Sacramento Kings find themselves struggling to stay afloat. With a perfectly even 33-33 straight-up record and a disappointing 26-37-1 mark against the spread, they took a tough 122-106 loss on the road against the Phoenix Suns on Friday as slight 2-point underdogs. Injuries could play a big role in this matchup. The Grizzlies remain without Santi Aldama and Vince Williams, though they have been finding ways to win despite the absences. Meanwhile, the Kings have already ruled out Trey Lyles, and they might have to do without their star big man, Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis exited Friday's game against the Suns with a left hamstring strain, and his availability remains in question. The Grizzlies are finally getting some key players back into the rotation, which has helped them find their rhythm and produce some of their best basketball of the season. The Kings, however, are slipping again. They're short on depth, and their latest game against the Suns wasn't just a loss, it was a lopsided beating against a team that hasn't even been playing particularly well. Despite their struggles, Sacramento is actually favored in this matchup, which feels a little odd considering the way they've been playing lately. However, home court advantage matters, and they're as healthy as they've been in quite some time. Aside from Sabonis' uncertain status, the Grizzlies have had their fair share of road struggles this season, with 14 of their 25 losses coming away from home. Plus, they're still without Ja Morant, which makes things even trickier. Back in January, when these two teams last faced off, the Kings exploded for 138 points, completely overwhelming Memphis with their offensive firepower. If the Kings are truly serious about snapping this losing skid and avoiding a potential drop to the 10th seed in the Western Conference, this is the kind of game they absolutely need to win. There are no excuses this time around. As our first pick for this matchup, the Sacramento Kings money line is our full game side pick. When these teams have met this season, the total points have been split evenly, 1-1, across their two previous matchups. The combined scoring average for those games, a massive 248 points per contest. Their most recent meeting was an absolute shootout, with the final score totaling 271 points. Both teams were locked in offensively, each knocking down at least 43 field goals, and together they combined for a staggering 38 three-pointers. While it's hard to expect another offensive explosion of that magnitude, it's worth noting that both squads rank among the top 10 scoring offenses in the NBA. They also like to push the pace, averaging over 90 field goal attempts per game. Sacramento's offense has been somewhat inconsistent lately, but even during this rough stretch, they've still managed to put up at least 122 points in 3 of their last 10 games. It feels like they're overdue for a breakout performance, and given Memphis' defensive struggles, this could be the perfect opportunity for them to get back on track. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies have been lighting up the scoreboard as well, averaging 120 points per game over their last 6 contests. In 7 of their last 9 games, they've reached the 120-point mark or higher. If recent trends hold, this game has all the makings of another high-scoring affair. So far this season, the over has hit 75 times between these two teams combined. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.